Chapter 4240. Madam Host, you finally remembered this. For the entire winter, his Madam Host had been prioritizing love over friendship and had completely forgotten about him. Now that she had basically gotten the person, did she finally remember him? What installation package did 111 give you? System. It's a complicated social software with a lot of content. This software was called System Home. In it, one could add friends, create small rooms, post posts, play games, and even watch videos. Of course, there's also a shopping center where you can buy things. Tanghua was a little surprised. Judging from Little Tungzi's words, he can already use that System Home? Tanghua, such a complicated program, can you even use it? Madam Host, don't look down on me. Not only can I use it, but I've also met many new systems recently. I finally understand why 111 is so outstanding. It's because the other systems are too naive. Isn't it because my brother is too awesome and did missions to upgrade 111? That's why he became so awesome. The system stammered. Okay, that's one of the reasons. So you've been busy making new friends recently? Tanghua finally understood why her little Tungzi would disappear whenever he had nothing to do. It was because he had found something fun. Speaking of which, Little Tungzi was also compatible with the Space Administration's program. It seemed that her little Tungzi was indeed more advanced. System. Of course, I've also added many systems as friends. We play games together, watch videos together, chat in rooms together, and share all kinds of experiences in transmigration. The more he didn't expect that one day, his life would be so rich and he would meet so many systems. It was simply too blissful. Love Literature Network. Looks like 111 gave you something good. She was wondering why she hadn't heard Little Tungzi complain about 111 for a long time. It turned out that he had been bribed. System. That's right. 111 is still very loyal. Okay, go play. I'll call you if there's anything. Little Tungzi was probably still in high spirits. If there was nothing else, Tanghua wouldn't disturb him. As expected, the system responded and went into hiding. Just now, he saw a post from a system complaining. He hadn't finished reading it yet. It was also because of this software that he realized that not all systems were as lucky as him, 111 and 222, to meet good hosts. Some hosts just couldn't do it. Every day, they would think that a pie would fall from the sky. They were also lovey-dovey. Their mission progress didn't increase for a long time, and they even complained that the system was stupid. But if he didn't complete the mission and upgrade the system, how could the system become smarter? Those systems were really pitiful. Fortunately, he had met his host. He was indeed the luckiest system, followed by 111. Tanghua had already picked out 3 good female artists. They were about the same age as Cheng Xian, and their career paths overlapped with Cheng Xian's. The 3 of them had good looks and were very capable. It was just that they were a little unlucky and had no background, so they had never been able to get an important role in a good script. The 3 of them had a certain base of fans. They were the kind of faces that passers-by were very familiar with. However, they had never played the main roles before, so they could not become popular. After bringing the 3 of them back, Tanghua did not plan to teach them herself. Half of her artists had already finished their work and were resting. Therefore, after the 3 of them arrived, this matter was handed over to Jiang Qiqi and the others. Vertex. Chapter 4241. Those 3 celebrities didn't lack acting skills. What they lacked was an opportunity. It was more than enough for Jiang Qiqi and the others to teach them. A month later, Yu Jiwei's movie was released. As expected, it received good reviews the moment it was released. Because of this, Yu Jiwei became popular again. In this movie, Xiao Huahua also had some scenes. At the request of the fans, Yu Jiwei opened an account for Xiao Huahua when she was the spokesperson for the chicken farm. The account was filled with information about Xiao Huahua's life. Yu Jiwei didn't expect that Xiao Huahua's fans had already doubled from the time he opened the account until now. The number of fans who supported Xiao Huahua every day was more than his. On the celebrity rankings, Xiao Huahua's popularity soared and surpassed many celebrities. People were speechless and didn't know what to do. Many celebrities in the industry didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They had worked hard to act for so many years, but in the end, they were surpassed by a little hen. This was the biggest joke in the industry. Yu Jiwei didn't think much of it, but Xiao Huahua's remuneration for appearing on screen wasn't lower than his. According to the current situation, if this continued, Xiao Huahua might surpass him by a lot. He even said that he would raise Xiao Huahua, but now, the money Xiao Huahua earned was more than he could spend in a few lifetimes. Now, Xiao Huahua's fans were no longer from the country. There were also fans from other countries. Many programs hoped that Yu Jiwei would bring Xiao Huahua to participate in them, but Yu Jiwei basically rejected them. If there was a good program, he would still consider it. After the movie became popular, Yu Jiwei's status suddenly soared to become an A-list celebrity. Next, he accepted 2 big-name endorsements. If it was a TV series or a movie, it would depend on fate. After all, he didn't accept just any movie. If he could accept a better one, of course, he would accept a better one. Scale literature in addition, Jiang Qiqi and Zhuo Xiang had also achieved good results. Jiang Qiqi had already started to take on the role of the female lead. Her image had changed drastically, and the roles she took on were more imposing female leads. After seeing so many soft female leads, it was still very appetizing to suddenly have an A and handsome female lead. For Zhuo Xiang's next drama, Tangwa planned to find her a female lead role. After so many years of training, it was about time. There was no need to talk about Hele. The script in front of him now was basically for the male lead. Tangwa still attached great importance to Hele's development. After all, he was a popular newcomer, so he had to be careful when accepting scripts. If he formed a fixed impression, it would be very troublesome for him to change his style. For a character as profound as Fanshi's, it would be a test of one's acting skills to take on. As for idol dramas, if the script was good and the character stood out, one could still take on the role. As for those who were too ordinary, they could forget about it. At the end of the day, she still hoped that the artists in her hands would take on some quality projects even if they had to rely on popularity. Everyone was given a 1-month holiday by Tangwa. They all lived in Tangwa's mansion. Every day, in addition to practicing their basic skills, they also had to teach the 3 newcomers. At this moment, Haiyu returned. On the day he came back, he brought gifts for everyone. However, one of the gifts he brought for Tangwa was a diamond ring. Seeing how Yi put the ring on Tangwa's finger intimately, Yu Jiwei and the others were dumbfounded. What was going on? Didn't they just go out to work for a winter? So tell them, what's going on? Did Hao Yi kidnap their manager without their knowledge? Vertex. Chapter 42-42. After the 1-month holiday, everyone was busy working again. Not long after, Tangwa received another piece of good news. Hele's character, Fanshi, had a high chance of winning the Best Supporting Actor award. Jiang Qiqi's character, the villain of the drama, also had a high chance of winning the Best Supporting Actress award. Hao Ye's character in I Only Want to Rule the World was actually very outstanding. However, since it was a comedy drama, it did not meet the standards of the award. Therefore, he was only nominated once before he was eliminated. Tangwa and Hao Yi were not in a hurry. After all, if nothing unexpected happened, he had a high chance of winning the award for his role as a lawyer in the drama. Tangwa was looking forward to Yu Jiwei's new movie. However, the role of the best actor depended on the movie itself. It also had to meet the standards of the contemporary judges. Not only did the movie have to be good, but it also had to be meaningful. It had to fully express the exterior and interior of the main character. It was useless if the movie was good. After Chang Xian hyped herself up as a single mother, her fame skyrocketed. Currently, she was hovering around the C-list. Tangwa took note of Chang Xian and the male lead that she had never met before. She did not know if they missed each other that time, but they did not meet again. Chang Xian was doing well in the entertainment industry. With the role of the second female lead in the new drama, her fame increased a lot. Taking advantage of this popularity, she planned to continue to audition for some good scripts that she had her eyes on. If she could play the female lead, it would be best if she could play the female lead. Only now did Chang Xian realize that not all young actors were as crazy as Hele. Most of them were similar to the world that she came from. Because of this, Chang Xian's confidence increased a lot. After learning that Chang Xian was going to audition for a new role, Tangwa immediately looked up the roles that she was going to audition for. Chinese. Now, she was going to do something. Because everyone was busy, she did not have the time to settle the score with Cheng Xian. She thought about the female artists that she had, especially the three that she recruited later on. They were definitely good at acting and had the potential to play the female lead. Since Cheng Xian was going to audition for the female lead, she told them to get ready and give it a try. Cheng Xian was originally full of confidence and wanted to audition for the female lead. Initially, the director was very satisfied with her. However, she was rejected in the end. She asked around and found out that the director had chosen a professional supporting actress. After looking at the film, Cheng Xian was silent. She continued to prepare the materials for the other role. When Cheng Xian went in for the second audition, she saw the director and the others discussing something with smiles on their faces. She could vaguely hear the director saying, "If there's no problem." Cheng Xian's performance in this match was a little off, so she naturally lost this opportunity. Cheng Xian had clearly taken a fancy to the two female leads, and they were chosen by the director for the public, not internally decided. In the end, she had missed the opportunity, and this made Cheng Xian very angry. Next up, she could only audition for a second female lead with a good script because the first female lead had already been decided. Tangwa sent out her number 3 female artist, but this time, she didn't steal Cheng Xian's role, but another one. It should be said that she was the second female lead. The main reason she did this was because she wanted to steal Cheng Xian's limelight during the filming. Chapter 42-43. It was just that when she started filming, she wanted to steal the limelight of the second female lead, but she did not expect that she could not do it at all. After some investigation, she found out that the second female lead had debuted as a child star and had always been lacking by a little. It was very difficult for her to steal the limelight from such an experienced actress. Cheng Xian's filming this time could be said to be full of scheming. She felt that every time she wanted to do something, the other party could react very quickly. Moreover, the other party's understanding of the role was too strong. She could always act out the ordinary lines and actions so perfectly. She originally thought that the role was flat, but it actually came to life just like that. Maybe it was because the other party's performance was excellent. She changed the lines slightly and added some scenes for herself. The director actually did not stop her. Instead, he was very satisfied. Cheng Xian did not know that this artiste could rise so quickly because she had been trained. The director believed her because he knew that this person was an artiste under Tangwa. How bad could she be? Also, Tangwa had sponsored a lot of props for them. Those exquisite crowns and costumes were all real and priceless. It completely raised the level of the entire drama. Cheng Xian was suppressed by Tangwa, and she thought of Qidong again. As for how to deal with Qidong, she decided to discuss it with Hao Yi. "Is there anything new about Qidong recently?" Hao Yi asked. Tangwa said, "I heard that half of his endorsements are about to expire, but you are not interested in this. I plan to snatch it for Xiaolei. Xiaolei is tall and handsome. He is suitable for these high-end brand endorsements. With his current popularity and image, there is a high chance that we can snatch it." Hao Yi agreed. He really did not want to endorse any products. It was not that he was arrogant, but it was not that he did not like it. He only liked acting and was not interested in anything else. Also, Qidong seems to have his eyes on a movie role. The theme is about future technology. Do you want to snatch it personally? This is an experienced director. There is an open casting, but this director is still very considerate. For Qidong, he might use Sister Yang's resources. But don't worry. As long as your interpretation is far better than Qidong's, the director will still choose his movie. Qidong has been thinking about entering the film industry for many years. How can I give this opportunity to him? Hao Yi said, "Xiaogua, do you have any information about this script? I'll ask the company to get it for you." Tangua was already thinking about it. Since it was a futuristic science and technology theme, it seemed that she could ask Emmanuel and Billy for some information. However, this information couldn't be shown to Hao Yi, so he could only show it to Hao Yi so that he could understand the technology of the future. On the same day, Hao Yi prepared for the role. On the day of the audition, Tangwa accompanied Hao Yi to the audition. This was the first time she had met Qidong since her return. When Qidong saw Hao Yi, his expression also changed. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Sure enough, after the audition, Qidong was outshone by Hao Yi. The director ignored his assistant's signal and decided to cast Hao Yi as the male lead on the spot. After everyone left, the assistant stammered, "Director, Sister Yang has invested in more than half of this drama. Now that you've chosen Hao Yi and pushed Qidong out, Sister Yang, Qidong won't do. If Hao Yi hadn't come, I could have reluctantly accepted it. But compared to him, it's like heaven and earth." Vertex. Chapter 42-44. Qidong was just reading his lines dryly. His acting was too exaggerated. As for Hao Yi, not only did he get into character, he also had his own understanding and even added in some bold conjectures. He must have read some sci-fi books. Actually, Qidong's performance was commendable, it was just not outstanding. But compared to Hao Yi, the director did not like Qidong at all, so his words were biased. But Sister Yang, the assistant reminded again. She was the biggest investor of their movie. The director laughed. Sister Yang is not an unreasonable person. I will explain the reason to her when the time comes. Also, Hao Ye's manager is Tanghua. Do you know what this means? The assistant did not understand. The director continued. It means that even if Sister Yang withdraws her investment, we will not be short of money. Now that everyone in the industry knows about the relationship between Hao Yi and his manager, would she stop Hao Yi from acting in this movie? The assistant widened her eyes. That seemed to be the case. This manager was really something. Qidong was furious. As soon as he returned to the car, he called Sister Yang. He told her about how he was rejected at the audition today. Sister Yang was silent for a second. I will ask what happened. Qidong smiled and said many words of thanks in a gentle voice. He even said that he would look for Sister Yang today. I went abroad last week. Sister Yang's reminder made Qidong feel a little awkward. He changed the topic and said a few more things before hanging up. Sister Yang immediately called the director. After hearing the director's words, she had no intention of withdrawing her investment. If the director strongly recommended someone, the movie would definitely be a hit. If she withdrew her investment, it would be a huge loss for her. Zhue Venus for Shao Qi, she would help him invest in another movie. It would be easy for him to get a male lead role. When Qidong heard this, although he was unhappy, he did not dare to say anything. Instead, he tactfully rejected Sister Yang's suggestion. He said that he did not have a good movie script yet and would rather take on a TV script first. Who is Tanghua? Director Qin was not nervous at all when he talked to me today. It seems that he is confident that even if I withdraw my investment, the movie will continue. He mentioned this Tanghua many times. Go and find out what's going on. Not long after, Sister Yang saw Tanghua's information. The heiress of the Tang Group was currently working as a manager in the entertainment industry. The artists under her were all very outstanding. Some had become A-listers, and some were about to become A-listers. In short, none of the artists were neglected, and they were all steadily rising. No wonder. Hao Yi, Sister Yang finally remembered this person. So that's how it is. Sister Yang, I also found out something else. Qidong has been targeting Hao Yi all these years, causing him to retire from the industry for 7 years. When his contract with the company is terminated, he will return to the circle and sign a contract with Morning Star Entertainment. The person who signed him is Tanghua. Looks like he did it on purpose this time. Back then, Hao Yi had suppressed Little Qi quite a bit. I didn't expect Little Qi to do so many things in between. Big Sister Yang thought for a moment. Sister Yang, perhaps you should pay more attention to Qidong. He's done a lot of things in your name. Look, you've been abroad for a week now, but he doesn't know. Previously, you cared about him, so I didn't say anything. Now, he's getting more and more arrogant. If it wasn't for this lesson, I wouldn't have remembered you, Sister Yang. Then tell Little Qi to stay away from Hao Yi. Remind him not to target Hao Yi anymore. The heiress of the family Tang Group might not have known that she was behind Qidong. She could have released this information to deal with Qidong, but she did not. This was enough to show that she was giving her face. Hao Yi got this role because of his own ability. Peak. Chapter 42-45. Qidong thought that after calling Sister Yang, she would help him no matter what. Even if she couldn't get the role back, she would withdraw her investment and warn the director. If the director was faced with withdrawal of his investment, it would definitely cause some trouble for the shoot. He didn't expect to receive a call from Sister Yang's assistant not long after hanging up the phone. Her words were a warning to him. What was even more unbelievable was that she warned him not to provoke Hao Yi. This infuriated Qi Dong greatly. Hao Yi again. Damn it. He knew that once Hao Yi returned to the industry, his career would be affected. He finally had his eyes set on a role. He had a hunch that with this movie, he would be able to make a name for himself in the film industry. In the end, it was snatched away by Hao Yi. When he first entered the industry, he had always wanted to enter the film industry. He had tested the waters one after another, but the response was not good. He could only wait for a suitable role, which was a big production script. After waiting for so long, he even asked Sister Yang to help him invest. In the end, the cooked duck flew away just like that. Qi Dong was flustered and exasperated. He couldn't buy any marketing now. Hao Yi was being supported by some rich woman, and his amazing manager was a rich girl who didn't lack money. Most importantly, she didn't mistreat anyone under her. Even if he used this to make an issue out of it, passers-by who knew a little about what had happened would not believe him. They would even think that the rumors were because they were jealous of Hao Yi. The key was that after Hao Ye's investment, he had acted in 2 dramas. From the first one onwards, his acting skills were commendable. Qi Dong was not satisfied. In the end, he decided to defame Hao Yi no matter what. Thus, he sold the fake reviewers. Those big marketers didn't dare to say anything about Hao Yi, but the fake account created by the fake reviewers was something Hao Yi couldn't pursue. Before director Qin made an official announcement, Qi Dong stirred up trouble. He bought fake reviewers to spread the news that Hao Yi had stolen the role not long after his investment. Sure enough, when the news came out, the netizens were curious about what was going on. The fake reviewers led them to dig up information, and soon, they found out that the fake reviewers were Qi Dong. Qi Dong was an award-winning actor. Almost every drama he acted in was a hit. The news on the internet is that the role was originally Qi Dong's. Later, as your manager, I was especially capable and snatched it back for you. Tangwa held her phone and discussed with Qi Dong. They didn't guess wrong, but you snatched it back yourself. I brought you to snatch it. Qi Dong didn't win. Qi Dong likes to play these little tricks behind people's backs. In the future, if the roles he has his eyes on are not bad, I'll try them out. Hao Yi said, Xiaogua, help me keep an eye out. No problem. If it weren't for the fact that the 2 of them were leaning against the tatami and looked very intimate, she would have thought that they were having a discussion in the office. Recently, the system media had been busy making new system friends. Occasionally, he would look at what Tangwa was doing. If there wasn't anything important, he wouldn't say anything. I've already spoken to Director Qin. He'll be releasing the footage of the audition later. When the time comes, the netizens will be free to judge for themselves. Tangwa felt that Qi Dong was just a little smart, but if he was dealing with a small artist, this little trick would be very useful. Unfortunately, he met Hao Yi, and even more unfortunately, Hao Yi was her man, so he was looking for death. Of course, she would make use of the black material that came knocking on her door. She didn't expose the fact that Qi Dong was Sister Yang's sugar daddy because of Sister Yang. Qi Dong had been defaming Hao Yi time and time again, and she had long been annoyed with him. Peak. Chapter 42-46. Also, Director Qin said that Sister Yang has no intention of withdrawing her investment. Hao Yi was not surprised when he heard the news. Sister Yang is not someone who would abandon her principles for Qi Dong. She will support Qi Dong and usually uses resources to support him. She won't do something for no reason. Moreover, anyone with a bit of foresight will continue to invest in this movie and not withdraw their investment because of Qi Dong. Looks like I'm going to earn less again. Tangwa sighed. Hao Yi said, my salary is getting higher and higher. I don't usually spend money. I'll leave the money to you. Tangwa pursed her lips and smiled. She remembered the first time she went to Qi Dong's house. It was extremely simple. All the furnishings and furniture were from many years ago, but they were not damaged at all. Everything was neat and tidy. Then I won't stand on ceremony. You really know how to earn money, but not how to spend it. I'll help you spend it. That's what I should do. I'll only give you 500 yuan a month. Tangwa said, if it's more than 500 yuan, you'll have to report it. I feel like I can't even spend 500 yuan. Hao Yi expressed very seriously. Now that all his daily life was taken care of by his personal assistant, there was no place for him to spend money. The clothes he wore outside were all prepared for him by Tanghua, and some were given to him by the clothing company. Not only did they give him clothes, but they also gave him money to wear them. Tanghua was amused. Currently, the netizens were in an uproar on the internet, especially Qidong's crazy fans. They were all scolding Hao Yi for being shameless and stealing their brother's role. Many people even went to Hao Ye's blog post to scold him. There were all kinds of unpleasant words, including cursing his family to be wiped out. Hao Yi was not immune to these words, but he did not like the feeling of being bullied on the internet. Every time he saw people scolding him, his desire to file a lawsuit was stirred. Tanghua looked at him and asked with a smile, "Who are you going to sue this time?" "But it's not easy to sue. You can warn them first. Then I'll post a warning on my blog." "You really don't think this matter is big enough?" Tanghua didn't object. Hao Yi didn't care about these things anyway. Artists were also human. He could use the law to protect himself against false news. Hao Yi posted a blog post. It was still a very simple and clear text. Spreading rumors is not acceptable. It's still the same sentence. No matter who you are, I hope you will be responsible for what you say on the internet. Otherwise, I will take up the weapon of the law to protect my rights. Hao Yi wasn't afraid that more people would scold him, nor was he afraid that people would say that he sued people for no reason. To him, it was enough that he could return to this circle. Firstly, he could act. Secondly, he could use the law to protect himself. Those who liked him would continue to like him. Those who didn't like him, please don't slander him. He was still a little different from other artists. He wouldn't swallow his pride. Sure enough, when Hao Ye's Weibo post came out, the people who were scolding him stopped for a while. They were a little scared. However, Qidong's die-hard fans didn't care about this. This was the result of Qidong's deliberate manipulation. Then, some of his big fans scolded Hao Yi even more fiercely. What was surprising was that those pornographic marketing accounts didn't follow suit and scold him. Instead, they quietly went to the official website. Marketing account 1. Hao Yi posted such a frightening statement again. The warning in it is very strong. I feel that something is going to happen. Peak. Chapter 42-47. Marketing number 2. I think so too. Anyway, let's not get involved in any news about Hao Yi. Once we get involved, we'll be in trouble. This guy must have been scolded so badly that he's traumatized. I suspect that he came back with the ultimate move to take revenge on those who scolded him. Marketing number 3. This guy is not to be trifled with. He's good at acting, smart, and a lawyer. He also has so many classmates and schoolmates. We really can't afford to offend him. Marketing number 4. Then let's repost Hao Ye's blog post. At least we can ride on his popularity. Let's spread the word that we hope everyone can be kinder. Everything that's in front of us is just groundless accusations. There's no evidence. Hao Yi won't sue us, right? Marketing number 5. That's not a bad idea. To other artists, we can just say whatever we want. But to Hao Yi, I've thought of a good way to ride on his popularity. We can just repost his blog post. It'll definitely be popular. In my opinion, since Hao Yi is so serious about it, this matter is definitely not over. Another shocking scene appeared on the internet. Hao Ye's blog post was reposted by all the major marketing accounts. They even added some words to persuade the netizens to be kinder. Without any evidence, it was better not to speak blindly. The internet was never a lawless place. Passers-by looked at the marketing accounts and left comments. Hey, if you think Hao Yi was kidnapped, blink your eyes. It was originally a serious matter, but after the marketing accounts and netizens' comments, it became a bit of a joke. The passers-by were still calm. They still remembered Hao Ye's lawsuit incident. Only Qidong's fans refused to listen. They couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. Anyway, it was Hao Yi who stole their brother's role. Director Qin was quite supportive. He released the audition footage on the same day. This was already a slap to Qidong's face. He had been planning this movie for 5 years. He couldn't let a rumor ruin the reputation of the male lead he was so satisfied with. Qidong was looking for trouble, so he couldn't be blamed. Sure enough, when the audition footage was released, Those who watched it were silent. Chi Dong's acting wasn't bad, but the traces of acting were too obvious. It was obvious that he didn't have a deep understanding of the role. Hao Yi was different. He was playing the role. No, it should be said that when he stood in front of the camera, it was as if he was the character. Even Chi Dong's fans had to admit that Hao Ye's acting was the best. In addition, the two of them auditioned together. Hao Yi did not steal Chi Dong's role at all. Chi Dong was the one who couldn't compete. While the netizens were arguing for a long time, Chi Dong did not say a word. Wasn't this tacitly admitting that Hao Yi had stolen his role? Unfortunately, if this method was used on other artists, it might not be able to clear their names, but it could work on Hao Yi. What was even more unbelievable was that Hao Yi was about to go to court again. When this news came out, the netizens were all dumbfounded. But this time, Hao Yi was going to join the crew for filming, so he asked his classmate to help him with the lawsuit. The people he was suing were Chi Dong's big fans who had been jumping around happily under his blog post. Before entering the set, Hao Yi posted on his blog, "Hao Yi, if I'm not good, if I really do something bad, everyone can scold me. However, things like slander and rumors are not allowed here. I will use the appropriate means to protect my own rights." Good news came one after another. The female villain in Jiang Qiqi's previous TV series had successfully defeated Cheng Xian and Mi Yashue and won the Best Supporting Actress award. Vertex. Chapter 42-48. Needless to say, Fan Shi won the Best Supporting Actor award. Hao Ye's TV series had already started airing. As soon as it started airing, Hao Yi, who was different from the previous emperor, appeared in a suit and leather shoes. This caused a huge sensation. In the TV series, professional terms and serious cases were used one after another. Everyone was mesmerized by the series. All the cases in the series were cases that changed reality, especially when Hao Yi, a real lawyer, was in charge of the series. He corrected any unprofessional parts. In the end, the TV series was praised by the country and was even broadcast on the news. It could be said that the series became extremely popular. Originally, people in the legal industry hated legal TV series the most. Because of the unprofessional terms and methods, they felt that their IQ was being insulted. They could not help but nitpick. However, Hao Ye's TV series was different. Almost as soon as it was released, many teachers recommended it to law students. They even played the drama in class and used it as a textbook. The director laughed like crazy. He did not expect Hao Yi to bring him such a big surprise. When the TV series was broadcasted on the internet, the screen was filled with comments like, "Senior brother is so handsome. Senior brother seems to have participated in changing reality. I know about this case. Our professor often tells us about it. Also, I took over this case." Although some details were changed, the general idea remained the same. A few months later, Yu Jiwei won the Best Actor award for his first movie. It was like a dream. In the same year, Hao Yi won the Best Actor award for his legal TV series. The artist's undertaking was management also received some achievements and nominations. Scripts and endorsements flew into her hands. As for Chi Dong, he was already half dead from the incident where he framed Hao Yi. She also heard that Sister Yang had broken off her relationship with Chi Dong. She even gave Chi Dong a role as the male lead in a TV series as compensation. Regarding this, Tanghua did not ask anyone to snatch it. She still had to give face to Sister Yang. This was most likely a breakup fee. It was not good to snatch it. It was the system that helped her find out. It was Sister Yang who found out that Chi Dong was a small-time celebrity. Naturally, there was no way this relationship could continue. If he took the initiative to end their relationship, Sister Yang would not stop him. Chi Dong was a typical example. He wanted to hug this big tree, and also wanted a young and beautiful woman. How could there be such a good thing? Chi Dong, who had lost Sister Yang, was extremely flustered. Now, his reputation had taken a turn for the worse. He was even being mocked by the entire internet. Cheng Xian was still filming. Unfortunately, with so many actresses under Tanghua, she had no way of getting the female lead role. Anyway, the female lead role that she thought was pretty good would not be able to compete with her in the end. She really wanted the role of the female lead. Finally, she got the chance, which was when Tanghua was busy with other actresses. There was indeed a female lead, but the filming did not go smoothly. The second female lead was someone who had her own resources. She had changed a lot of scenes on her own without permission and had sidelined her role as the female lead. She was so angry that she wanted to die, but there was nothing she could do. She didn't know if Chi-dong was mentally unstable, but his acting skills seemed to have regressed in the last show that Sister Yang had invested in. While Hao Yi won the Best Actor award for his first film, Chi-dong sat in front of the television and watched everything unfold with a look of dissatisfaction. Vertex. Chapter 42-49. In the end, he decided to approach another rich woman. He was not willing to lose to Hao Yi. Hao Yi had not been in the industry for many years. How did he become popular when he came back? Why did Hao Yi easily achieve what he could not achieve after so many years of hard work? Tangwa's artists exploded one after another. First, it was Yu Jiwei, Lei, Jiang Qiqi, Hao Yi, then Zhuo Xiang, Yin Zhuyun, and finally the three new artists. None of them disappointed her. While training these artists, Tangwa heard the system gossiping to her again. Host, because of Sister Yang, those rich women don't like Chi-dong. However, a tycoon took a fancy to him, but it was a man. Chi-dong is now very poor. In the end, he decided to sell his butt for a living. When Tangwa heard this, she was drinking tea and almost choked. What's wrong? Hao Yi patted Tangwa's back and asked with concern, "Are you not feeling well?" Tangwa shook her head. "I'm fine. I suddenly heard a piece of news." She told them about Chi-dong and realized that everyone looked normal. It was as if they were not surprised by the news. She reacted, "You all know? It's not a secret." "There are no secrets in the industry," Yin Zhuyun said. She was very glad to be with this agent. During this period, many companies said that they wanted to sign them at a high price. The contract was very flexible, but none of them agreed. Weicheng, they felt that no matter how flexible the contract was, it could not compare to being with their agent. Everyone was most envious of Hao Yi. He took achievements one by one and even brought their all-round agent to his nest. "Sister Tang, there's another big news recently. Do you know?" Jiang Qiqi asked. When she saw that Tangwa did not know, she could not help but laugh. Ever since they grew up, Sister Tang did not seem to worry much. She watched the shows they participated in at home every day. She had become a drama addict. "What's the matter?" Tangwa asked. She had many capable people in her hands. She was not worried, so she did not pay much attention to it. If there was any problem, Tongzi would tell her immediately. Yin Zhuyun said, "It's about Chengxian. I heard that her child is the son of the Shui Group CEO, but CEO Shui has been married for more than 3 years. This child seemed to have been born a few years before their marriage. Now, Mr. Shui's wife has been suppressing Chengxian, and she's not having a good time." Jiang Qiqi added, "Although the Shui family looks down on Chengxian, they don't want to give up the bloodline of the Shui family. However, Mr. Shui's wife obviously didn't want to accept this child, which caused Shui Group's stock price to drop a lot. If Mr. and Mrs. Shui get divorced, it means that the relationship between the Shui and Li families is broken. The impact will be huge. Chengxian, the main culprit, naturally became a thorn in their side." Chapter 42-50. Speaking of innocence, the truly innocent one was President Shui's wife. Out of nowhere, her husband had an illegitimate son. How could she not die? Chengxian's true motive for climbing into President Shui's bed was now exposed. In President Shui's eyes, the current Chengxian was no different from a normal woman who clung onto the rich and powerful. Even if she had a smart and cute son, his impression of her would not change. So, in this lifetime, Chengxian would never be able to receive President Shui's true love. As for the entertainment industry, her words remained the same. She would never let Chengxian play the female lead in a good script. Never. Tangwa no longer paid any attention to Chi-dong and Chengxian. As long as they weren't doing well, she would be happy. Later on, when she had free time, Tangwa signed a few more artists. Because of her, a treasure manager, Morning Star Agency became one of the top agencies in the country. What made people speechless was that all the famous artists were under her management. No, to be exact, All the artists that were not famous in the past but were now famous were all under her management. In fact, online, some people even joked that Tangwa's artists were Tangkor's artists. Yu Jiwei felt that this was a good title and accepted it. In the end, Qidong was not satisfied. Hao Yi was so famous, and there was even a photo of Hao Yi and Tangwa traveling hand in hand. He thought this would bring them some trouble. The couple never had any intention of hiding their relationship. Now that it was exposed, they went with the flow and admitted it. Hao Yi's fans reacted calmly. After so many years, they understood Hao Yi. When he first debuted, he had already said that he wouldn't hide his relationship problems. In fact, his fans more or less knew about it. He was so brazen. How could they not see it? Not long after the relationship was exposed, they chose to get married. Qidong gritted his teeth in anger, but there was nothing he could do. He could only continue to sell his ass to maintain his status in the industry. Unfortunately, this method was not a long-term solution. One day, he would be taken down by someone who didn't like him. Qidong's relationship was exposed a few years ago. This time, he was really done for. Over the years, the impression Hao Yi gave his fans was that he acted, fought lawsuits, doted on his wife, and was the envy of others. Not only did he fight lawsuits for himself, if any of Tangkor's artists were to be slandered, he would also help. In this industry, Tangkor's artists were like a tightly coiled rope. If anyone dared to make a move, they would be hit. Unknowingly, many years passed. Tangkor's artists rarely had any rumors about them because they had a strong legal team behind them, led by Hao Yi. In fact, some artists that were affected by the rumors would choose to go to them for a lawsuit. Another characteristic of Tangkor's artists was, whenever they received an award, they would praise their manager on stage. They talked about how pitiful they used to be and how lucky they were to have met their manager. They even said that they wanted to give these trophies to their manager. Clearly, Tangwa was not in the entertainment industry. Who would have thought that in the end, she would be given a room to put the trophy in? Tangwa was just an agent, but she never expected to be chosen as one of the most influential people of this century. Another person was Hao Yi, because he spared no effort to sue the person who started the rumor every time, indirectly purifying the online environment. Because of this, the country also made some changes to the laws and regulations on the internet. It was only right for him to become a legendary figure. Yu Jiwei's achievements weren't bad either. He was simply a craftsman. Even his Xiao Huahua became the most influential chick of this century and was even awarded an award. Tangwa had also secretly fed Xiao Huahua a pill so that Xiao Huahua could accompany Yu Jiwei and its fans for the rest of its life. In Zhuyun became one of the most elegant women of this century. Many housewives learned to cherish themselves and learned many skills from her. The other artists also had their own merits. In conclusion, none of Tangkor's artists were bad. In her lifetime, Tangwa managed over 50 artists. Every single one of them achieved great things and was known as the #1 manager. On the day she passed away, many students from the film and television school cried especially hard. No one could comfort them, and many psychologists even came over to counsel them. The reason they cried was because their #1 manager had left before they even graduated. In the past, even though the chances of them going to her company were small, there was always a chance. But now, there was no chance at all. The more they thought about it, the sadder they felt. At the peak. Chapter 42:51. This was a magnificent place. The floor was paved with white jade, and the rest of the room was decorated with all kinds of treasures. Utensils made of gold could be seen everywhere. These utensils were simple and elegant, and the workmanship was exquisite. The chair Tangwa sat on was also very particular. It was called a chair, but in fact, it could be laid down horizontally. It could be seen how big this chair was. At the top of the chair, there was a huge gemstone that was as big as an adult's head. Such a big gemstone without any flaws was really puzzling. Most importantly, this gemstone was only used to decorate the chair. In addition to the huge gemstone, there were also smaller gemstones. Facing the light from outside, the gemstones on the chair emitted different colors of light. It was luxurious. Tangwa's first reaction was that she had transmigrated to a Mary Sue world, the so-called one book, one world. When a story was created, the world in the work would become a real small world after a long time of evolution. Even if it's the Mary Sue world, this place is too rich. Any random gemstone here is enough to let people eat and drink for several lifetimes. Tangwa couldn't help but touch the biggest gemstone. It felt very real. For a moment, she couldn't tell whether this was virtual or real. She also found that there was a scepter on her left and right. There was also a gemstone on the scepter. This gemstone was purple and its shape was somewhat like a round crystal ball that had been polished with countless sides. She could tell at a glance that this wasn't a crystal ball, but a real purple gemstone. She decided to take a good look at this place. After taking 2 steps, she came to a floor mirror. The mirror was also very luxurious. On the edge of the mirror, there were many diamonds. The twinkling almost blinded her eyes. 12th Literature Network. The person in the mirror was wearing a noble gemstone crown and wearing some Chinese and Western clothes. This dress was very expensive at a glance. It should be said that this style was exaggerated and expensive. Even in TV dramas, it couldn't be seen. This wasn't the Mary Sue world. Tangwa had a new idea. This dress was very similar to the game world. Everyone knew that some of the costumes in the game world were quite extravagant. Someone like her, who was wearing a jeweled crown, holding a scepter of the same design, and wearing luxurious clothes, looked like a game boss. With this knowledge, Tangwa could not help but guess the plot of this world. Could it be that the original owner, the big boss of the game, had her consciousness awakened? This led to a series of events. Tongzi, are you there? After staring for about 10 seconds, the system hurriedly replied, Dear host, I'm here. I've been keeping an eye on you. Tongzi, you've changed, Tangwa said slowly. The system felt a little guilty. Dear host, I won't play with them today. I'll accompany you. How about that? The system was filled with countless sins in its heart. How could it be so playful and not accompany the host? Tangwa was just joking. In fact, little Tongzi was still little Tongzi. It was just that his reaction was 10 seconds slower. It didn't matter to her. It wasn't easy for him to integrate into the system with an official identity. Little Tongzi was still warm, so it was normal for him to be a little playful. If you want to play, then go play. It won't delay anything. Go and receive the memories. Vertex. Chapter 42:52. Tangwa sat back on the luxurious chair and gently leaned back on the cushion. The chair was really luxurious and comfortable. Just as Tangwa had guessed, she had transmigrated into a game world. The original owner was a very important NPC and was considered a big boss. She had to deal with human players many times every day. She was currently in her home, the Purple Tower in Purple Tower City. The Purple Tower was also called the Purple Tower Palace. It was a place that all human players wanted to visit. She was called Empress Zeta. Tens of thousands of years ago, after the disappearance of the Purple Emperor, Empress Zeta had been stationed in Purple Tower City to guard the treasures here. Of course, this was the background setting. There was no such thing as the Purple Emperor. However, the setting was that after the disappearance of the Purple Emperor, he was very concerned about the treasures here. Empress Zeta wholeheartedly guarded this place and did not allow anyone to occupy it. Human players came here to do anything. So far, no one had been able to break through Empress Zeta's level. However, this was a large-scale holographic game. The path to another map was not limited to Empress Zeta's path. They could choose other paths. The other paths were also not clear. However, as more and more players were able to break through, they were no longer satisfied. As for Empress Zeta's side, no one had been able to break through it. The officials even revealed some plot details. Once they gained Empress Zeta's approval, there would be rich hidden rewards. The official dialogue was that regardless of whether one gained Empress Zeta's approval or killed Empress Zeta, there would be different rewards. Because of this news, almost all the players on the internet came to Purple Tower City as soon as they went online. They wanted to find a way to attack Empress Zeta. In Purple Tower City, Empress Zeta was invincible. Even the top player on the leaderboard could not withstand one move in front of her. Unless Empress Zeta was lured out of the city. 123 Literature, however, she was stubborn. She was focused on guarding the treasures. She had no intention of going out. Every time she chased them to the door, she would not chase after them. Instead, she would return to the Purple Tower to play the game. After repeating the same thing over and over again, the players were mentally exhausted. They felt that the difficulty of this game was too high. However, the game company was not a novelty. Sometimes, the settings in the game were indeed strange. Since they had played until now, there was no reason for them to give up. In particular, the game company announced that as long as one could pass Empress Zeta's side, they would have priority in the newly released maps. Once this news came out, the players went crazy as they desperately tried to think of a way to deal with the Purple Tower Empress. In the end, someone came up with a solution. The person who came up with this solution was this world's chosen one. His name was Song Lin, and his in-game name was Young Master Song. This method was to use his sincerity to move the Purple Tower Empress and make her let him go willingly. How did Song? In fact, before he defeated the Purple Tower Queen, he had inadvertently defeated another NPC. In this game, NPCs were relatively more powerful than those in other games. Players knew that this was a virtual world. It was just a way to pass time. Holographic games were very advanced. The game added this function to reduce the pressure on the singles in society. Singles could get satisfaction in the game. Then, they would not do bad things in society. Chapter 42-53. This function was developed with good intentions. Moreover, this game was registered with one's real name. One account could not be changed. It was impossible to create another account. Every time they logged in, they would be scanned. It was impossible to use someone else's account. If they did not want this account, they could commit suicide. Once the cooldown time was over, they could register again. In addition, some functions were not available to minors. For example, if they got married in the game, they would not be able to feel pain. Some games that only adults could play were not available to them. For minors, this game was just a normal game of socializing, leveling up, killing monsters, and dropping equipment. It was also said that Song Lin unintentionally conquered a game NPC. It was the guardian of the Half-Moon Lake, the Half-Moon Princess. After conquering her, he married the Half-Moon Princess. In the hearts of these NPCs, this was their real world. Therefore, they really treated Song Lin as their husband. Moreover, after Song Lin decided to conquer Empress Zeta, he came to Purple Tower City every day and pursued the original host. He did all the romantic things that he needed to do. After spending a few months, he finally moved Empress Zeta. In order to marry Empress Zeta, Song Lin broke off his marriage with the Half-Moon Princess. The Half-Moon Princess was so sad that she hid in the Half-Moon Lake to heal. She did not believe in any heartless man in the world anymore. After Song Lin and the original host got married, the original host let him go. Song Lin successfully cleared the game and received rich rewards. He also had the right to go to a new map. After calming down, he remembered that the game company said that there was another reward for killing Empress Zeta. In Purple Tower City, he could not kill Empress Zeta. Therefore, he decided to trick Empress Zeta out of Purple Tower City and kill her. At first, Empress Zeta was not willing. Later, she could not resist Song Lin's request and wanted to see the outside world. She did not expect that not long after she went out, she would be killed by Song Lin. When Empress Zeta was killed, the system would reset and she would return to her original state. In other words, after she was killed, she returned to the Purple Pagoda. It was as if she was still the Empress Zeta who had not experienced anything. She had no previous memories. Song Lin did all this without any pressure. He thought of the Half-Moon Princess again and went back to look for her. He even made up a story to deceive her, saying that he had been kidnapped by Empress Zeta and had no choice but to divorce her. Half-Moon Princess was a pure NPC born in the game world. Of course, she knew how powerful Empress Zeta was. She never doubted Song Lin's words. Later on, Song Lin even helped his teammates trick Empress Zeta out of the city and killed her to obtain the treasure. The other players followed suit. She was even less afraid of what these people could do. After Empress Dowager Chen's analysis, Everyone felt that she did have a chance to use the medicine Ziyun gave her when moving the capital. When her body recovered, she would be able to do many things. However, according to Empress Dowager Qin's current situation, even if she recovered, she couldn't immediately expose herself. Now that the Empress Dowager was the most powerful family, even the emperor was fascinated by her. It was possible that the Empress Dowager would be secretly killed. So even if Empress Dowager Qin's body could recover, she still had to endure it. It was already good news that she could recover. Empress Dowager Qin had endured the humiliation of the empress for so many years, so it was no problem for her to endure it a little longer. It was just a matter of time. When her body recovered, she could slowly plan. Vertex. Misty Lady, you perverts only know how to look at beautiful women. You should think about how to pass this level. After we deal with Empress Sita, we can move on to the next level. Riding the wind and moon. What's the hurry? We've already entered the Purple Pagoda, so we're just staying here for a while. We won't delay anything. Speaking of which, if he could really meet Empress Sita, this trip would not be in vain. Rosa Rubra, are you guys going to do it or not? If you're not going to do it, then I'll do it. The sooner we kill Empress Sita, the sooner we can move on to the next level. If you don't agree, then let's go. Don't delay our mission. Tangwa did not like or hate players who wanted to kill her when they tried to clear the level. After all, this was just a game for humans. Killing NPCs was a basic skill. However, she hated people like Song Lin who cheated on her feelings. Rosa Rubra's words made the other two male players stop delaying. They looked at each other and walked toward Tangwa. Rosa Rubra walked in front of Tangwa and introduced herself. Dear Empress Sita, we would like to borrow the teleportation portal on the 9th floor of the Purple Pagoda. What do you need us to do? Tangwa had thought that Rosa Rubra would be the first to attack. She did not expect her to be so polite, so she had a new idea. Girl, what's your name? Tangwa asked. As a special NPC, her lines were, of course, very special. Rosa Rubra was stunned. She did not expect Empress Sita to speak so strangely when she looked so serious. However, she still said politely, My name is Rosa Rubra. I'm from the God Refining sect. You want to use the teleportation portal?
Yes.
Tangwa looked at her condescendingly and pointed her scepter into the distance. If you want to use the teleportation portal, it's not impossible. However, you have to do something for me. If you can do it, I'll allow you to use the portal. Chapter 42-56. Rosa Rubra had heard that Empress Sita had a strange temper, and most of the players who came in didn't have a good time. Since the game started, although there had been people who had played to the later stages, no one had passed through Empress Sita. No matter how many players came, they would be chased out by Empress Sita and even killed back to the beginner's village to be revived. Therefore, when Tangwa said that she had to complete the quest, Rosa Rubra was not optimistic at all. She didn't think that Empress Sita would let her use the teleportation circle easily. However, Rosa Rubra still asked, What does Honorable Gold Empress Sita need me to do for you? She heard that Tangwa said that if she wanted to use the teleportation circle, she had to complete the quest. Did that mean that only those who completed the quest could use it? Tangwa liked people like Rosa Rubra who played the game seriously and completed quests. In fact, the reason why the original owner had awakened her consciousness and then turned evil was because Song Lin, the child of destiny, had touched her with love and won her heart. If it wasn't for Song Lin, the original owner might never have awakened her consciousness. It's not a very difficult quest. I heard that the Half Moon Princess got married, and I want to give a gift to the Half Moon Princess. However, I have to stay in Zeta City, and it's not convenient for me to go out. Therefore, I need you to help me send this gift to the Half Moon Princess. Tangwa realized that there was a benefit in the game. She could get whatever she wanted. For example, when she said that she wanted to give a gift, this thing appeared in her mind. It was a very exquisite and luxurious gift box. It was decorated in the same style as the entire Zeta City. There were also the words Happy Marriage engraved on it. Half Moon Princess? Rosa Rubra obviously knew her. She was an NPC in the game. She had just gotten married to a player called Young Master Song. She didn't expect that Impressita was related to the Half-Moon Princess. 118-inch. Of course, I'm happy to accept this mission. Rosa Rubra took the gift box. Although she didn't know what Impressita was up to, she still wanted to give it a try since she didn't beat her up and even gave her a mission. Tangwa said, "Go ahead then. Remember to come back and get your reward after you complete the mission." Rosa Rubra glanced at the person beside her. She wanted to say something, but Tangwa waved her scepter and threw her out. At this moment, Rosa Rubra had already landed outside the purple pagoda. She scanned her surroundings and indeed did not see those people from before. As she walked outside, she sent messages to her teammates. "Rosa Rubra, this seems to be a personal quest. Love talk. Then you go first. We're still inside. Impressita will probably give us another task." "Misty Lady, this Impressita seems to be different from what they said." "Riding the wind and moon. Rosa Rubra, you go first. We should be there soon. After we complete the mission, we'll go through the teleportation portal together." Seeing that they didn't mind, Rosa Rubra nodded and ran in the direction of the Half-Moon Lake. She wanted to leave the city first and return to the place where humans were active. She could find the teleportation portal directly to the Half-Moon Lake. In this game, Half-Moon Princess was also an NPC, but she was much more amiable than Impressita. She could get along well with other players. Tangwa glanced at the remaining people. Seeing that they were looking forward to it, she floated in front of Misty Lady. Peek. Chapter 42:57. Misty Lady. Wow, Impressita is so pretty. It'd be great if she didn't fight. By the way, won't the officials release some posters of Impressita? She's so pretty. Release more accessories. The system could feel that Misty Lady's words made its host very happy. Its energy was increasing very quickly. "Misty Lady, beautiful Impressita, I also want to use your teleportation portal. Do I have to complete the mission too?" Since she was so sweet, Tangwa decided to give a simple mission to Misty Lady. This girl had good taste. Tangwa, of course. Anyone who wants to use the teleportation portal must complete the mission. "Misty Lady, what can I do for you?" "Tangwa, it's been a long time since I've heard someone praise me so sincerely like you. Now, I need you to do something for me. If you stay here and praise me for 10 days, I'll let you use the teleportation formation." Misty Lady was stunned. How could she do that? Didn't Impressita say that she was unreasonable and would kill players back to the beginner's village to revive? She was good-looking and gentle, and she was also reasonable. "Tangwa, what's wrong? Is this mission very difficult for you?" "Misty Lady, no. I'm very willing to do this for the beautiful Impressita. I'm very willing. Compliment her for 10 days. There's no level easier than this." "Love talk. I feel that things are not so simple. There's no way she'll let us pass so easily. Impressita must be playing some tricks." "Chungfeng Yuer, I feel the same way. Let's see how it goes. If she gives us a mission, we'll do it first. If she's unreasonable, we'll take it head-on." After all, no one had passed Impressita's level. Currently, there were no guides about Impressita on the game forums and major websites. On the other side, Tangwa was still talking to Misty Lady. "Do you know how to write?" "Misty Lady, of course I will." "Tangwa, then you can sit over there and write praises for me. You can read it to me when you're free later." Misty Lady quickly agreed. Wasn't it just a thank you essay? It was a very simple task. This character was really too relaxed. She really wanted to buy Impressita's merchandise. Tangwa turned her gaze to the remaining two people. Both of them could feel that her expression had become much colder. "What else do you two want? If there's nothing else, then leave. This is not a place where you should be." Love Words and Ride the Wind looked at each other. Their lines seemed to have changed all of a sudden. Was Impressita such a double standard when it came to gender? Love Words. Impressita. We also want to borrow the teleportation array in the Purple Tower. Riding the Wind and Moon. You can assign us missions. Tangwa, I don't need you to do anything. Hurry up and leave, or I'll call the guards. The completely different treatment surprised Misty Lady, who was writing her essay. Impressita didn't seem to like them very much. Wasn't Empress Zeta very nice to her and Rosa Rubra? It must be their fault. She remembered that these two people were very popular in the game. Empress Zeta probably hated them because she had heard of their reputation. No matter how wrong it was, it definitely wasn't Empress Zeta's fault. How could she be wrong about such a beautiful girl? Misty Lady buried her head in writing her essay. She felt that she didn't have enough words. As expected, when it came to writing, one would regret not having enough words. Peak. Chapter 42:58. Love Talk. Looks like it won't work. I don't know what happened, but she suddenly changed her attitude. Maybe that's why the players can't pass. I don't know how I offended this NPC. Riding the wind and moon. She doesn't seem to want to give us a chance. What should we do? Love Talk. If we don't try to attack her first, we'll be killed back to the beginner's village. The two of them discussed and decided to attack Tangua. If they failed, they would see if they could sneak in with Rosa Rubra and the others. Tangua had already noticed their actions. She didn't want to kill them back to the beginner's village like the original owner did. Instead, she wanted to beat them down and arrange for the guards to hang them in the Purple Tower City with ropes for all the NPCs and players to see. Because this was a game, Misty Lady wasn't worried about the two of them at all. She even laughed when she saw them hanging outside. This game was very realistic. The personalities of all the NPCs in the game would change as they interacted with the players. Therefore, no one thought that Empress Zeta Tangua was strange when she hung the players outside. Empress Zeta was very special in this game. Love Talk. There must be a big update. Empress Zeta learned a lot of ways to torture people. Riding the wind and moon. What should we do? We can't be hung here forever. Love Talk. Let's see how it goes. Time passed faster in the game world. This was set when the game was launched. Love Talk and Riding the Wind and Moon had been hanging in the game for 7 days. Many players heard about it and came to see them. Some players recognized them and wanted to let them go. However, this was Empress Zeta's territory. Tangua caught all the players who came and hung them on the Purple Tower City. It was a very special scene. 10 days passed in the game. In reality, it was only a short while. Misty Lady's mission was completed. Tangua said, "Misty Lady, I'm very satisfied with your compliment, so I'll now give you a God's Scepter. You can use the teleportation portal with it." When Misty Lady held the God-bestowed scepter, she was still a little confused. Was it that simple? After praising the Purple Tower Emperor, she would be able to pass through? If those people outside knew about this, they would probably cry. Misty Lady, thank you, Empress Zeta, for your generosity. May you become more and more beautiful. When she discovered these words, Empress Zeta's expression was indeed very gentle, and there was even a faint smile on her face. You're awesome in this game. No wonder she spent 3 years of her pocket money to buy it. She was about to eat dirt, but just for the Purple Tower Empress, she felt that it was worth it. Misty Lady didn't go to the teleportation portal immediately. Instead, she waited for Rosa Rubra. The other two were obviously not liked by Empress Zeta. They were still hanging outside. Chapter 42:59. If they encountered a situation that was not set in the game, they would gather information from the big data within a certain period of time and react accordingly. At this time, Rosa Rubra had already accepted the warm hospitality of the Half-Moon Princess and returned to Purple Pagoda City with the letter that she had written for Empress Zeta. Misty Lady had already told her what had happened to the two of them. She actually did not have a good impression of the two of them. They had just formed a temporary team to enter Purple Pagoda City. There were many monsters and guards at the entrance to the Purple Pagoda. They had to defeat the monsters and guards in order to enter the Purple Pagoda and meet Empress Zeta. Basically, very few players entered alone. They would form a team. The number of people in the team was not fixed. It depended on the situation. When she entered with the two of them, they would always comment on the female NPCs and make fun of them. This made her feel disgusted. Although the game had activities for adults, such as marriage, some of the activities in the game were similar to those in the real world. However, for these things to happen, they had to be officially married to an NPC. Moreover, monogamy was also practiced in the game. If they liked another NPC, they had to divorce before they could marry the next one. If they were not married, they would not be intimate enough. Nothing could happen. While she was thinking, Rosa Rubra had already returned to the purple pagoda with the letter. She saw Impressita and Misty Lady sitting together. The two of them seemed to be drinking tea and chatting. She did not understand. There were many players outside the purple pagoda, but Impressita was still chatting with a smile. She was indeed different from the other NPCs. Rosa Rubra came in front of Tangua and handed her a letter. Rosa Rubra, Impressita, this is the letter that the Half-Moon Princess sent to you. The gift has already been sent to the Half-Moon Princess. Tangua, very good. I am very satisfied. I want to reward you with a god's sword. I hope that your journey will be smooth. As for why these weapons were all god's sword, that was set by the game company. She just read it out loud. As for what reward to give to the other party, there were only those in the data, so she just gave it to them. Misty Lady was suitable for the scepter, and Rosa Rubra was suitable for the sword. When all the players saw that Rosa Rubra received the god's sword from Impressita, they were all stunned. How long has it been? Didn't they say that Impressita was very difficult to deal with? The purple pagoda's god's sword? Because of this situation, many players went to the officials to report. The game company was also very surprised. The game had been open for more than half a year. Before today, no one could pass Impressita, not even the internal staff of the company. Because they used new technology in the game would grow with the update of the data, and there would be many unexpected endings. Tangua had asked the system to help her secretly control the game. She didn't want to change anything, but she didn't want the game company to find out that her data was abnormal. It would be a pity if such a fun game was restricted. She quite liked being an NPC. Peak. Chapter 4260. I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. I didn't find anything out of the ordinary either. Impressita must have collected some information. She must have the most unique personality among the NPCs. It's because of the existence of the Purple Tower Empress that players come in cursing, leave cursing, and come in cursing again the next day. There was nothing out of the ordinary with the two players. One of them is a new player, so it's probably a probability event. Observe the situation of the Purple Tower Empress. Maybe she can give us more surprises. A realistic NPC was the biggest success of their game. The officials quickly released the news that there were no bugs in the game. They also encouraged the players to work hard to find a way to impress Impressita. Tangua didn't give out artifacts to every player she met and let them use the teleportation portal. Misty Lady and Rosa Rubra were just lucky. In the future, she wouldn't give the players such an easy task when they came in. If she gave out too many artifacts, even if the game company couldn't find any bugs, they would think that there was something wrong with her. A few hours had passed in the outside world. The players who were hung on the Purple Tower had to work during the day. It was impossible for them to stay up all night. Impressita didn't intend to put them down. In the end, they all went offline and returned to the real world to sleep. Tangua watched the players' bodies disappear one by one. She didn't control them. She would give them a surprise the next time they came online. Didn't she say that Purple Pagoda City was her territory? How could they leave this place after going offline? You can't do that. 2 pieces of divine equipment were given out in a single day. Discussions about the Purple Tower Queen strategy began to spread on the forums. Miss Muddleheaded and Wild Rose received a lot of news. Of course, these players wanted to know how they managed to move the Purple Tower Queen. Those who knew them all came to learn from them. They didn't hide anything and told them about their situation. Then, the forum started to discuss again. I didn't know Impressita was so narcissistic. Praising her would give me a divine artifact and permission to use the teleportation circle? If I had known earlier, I would have praised her the moment I saw her. Then I wouldn't have been hung on the wall for hours and laughed at by the people I know. By the way, does Impressita still know Half-Moon Princess? Are they relatives? I don't think they're relatives. Speaking of which, they're in charge of different territories. They should know each other, but they're definitely not relatives. Giving them gifts is most likely a favor. The tycoons of the real world should also have such relationships. Speaking of which, if we go in and praise Impressita, This method may not work. It was only when the game company went to work the next morning that the design team analyzed the problem. Impressita has learned how to close the door. She needs to rest. I've checked it. There's no abnormality in the data. She probably took in too much data and figured it out herself. When we first designed her, we put a lot of thought into it. Her stats are different from other NPCs. It's a good thing. Impressita's performance is more in line with my original idea. But we still have to observe carefully. If there are any abnormalities, we have to stop it in time. The team even felt that the current Impressita's intelligence was like a real one. The game would definitely improve because of this. The apex. Chapter 4262. The players received a response from the game officials that Impressita's performance was normal. They also said that the game character's setting was very special from the very beginning. The game character itself was a sudden idea. If there was an NPC who was full of malice towards the players, as long as they were in her territory, no matter how strong the players were, they would be defeated by her scepter. They also said a weakness. That was, after walking out of the Purple Tower City, her strength would be weakened, and she would only have the strength of an ordinary player. As for how to break into the light, gain Impressita's approval, or kill her, the design team did not set this in the beginning. They only put some treasures in her hands. What if the players really succeeded? Therefore, this was the reason why players didn't have to go through the Purple Tower Queen's palace to reach the place they wanted to go. The players thought that this was intentional by the game team. It was intentional, but it was not necessary for them to break through. Even they themselves had not broken through. After half a year, the character of this different game character had finally become more and more realistic. I see that some players are asking if we should release some Impressita's merchandise. In the early days of the game, some people thought that Impressita looked good and often drew her. Yes, it's good to release the merchandise now. Pick a suitable day to customize it. Many people should be interested. At dawn, many players quickly came online to the Purple Tower. Sure enough, the doors of the Purple Pagoda were already open. They ran in happily and saw the incomparably noble Purple Pagoda Empress sitting on a throne. She was holding a scepter and looking at them indifferently. She looked like a queen. With this temperament, they were worthy of coming in. She is indeed Impressita. If it weren't for the team this time, I wouldn't be able to come in. When Tangwa saw so many people come in at once, her cold voice sounded, "Humans, this is not a place for you to come. Go back to where you came from." Wow, wow, wow. Last time, this was not her line. Big data is awesome, and her lines are so smart. The players spoke one after another. They were willing to serve Impressita. They just wanted to go through the teleportation portal. Tangwa glanced at them coldly. You are just mortals. You don't deserve to use the teleportation portal. Get out of here. Oh, Impressita called me a mortal. Why do I want to be scolded again? Tangwa was a little speechless. Are these human players playing fighting games? They like to be scolded? She found that these players' expressions, they did not have any evil intentions. They were just interested in her scolding. On the other hand, some of the silent players looked at her with a complicated expression, as if they were pondering how to get past her. Although these dim were cute, he still couldn't just casually give them the artifact and let them pass the level. Dear Empress, Impressita. Among the human players, a little loli suddenly ran out. She had two cute ponytails. She bounced in front of Tangwa and stared at her with her big eyes. In order to see you, I saved up my pocket money for a long time before I asked the guards to send me in. Ah, Impressita, I'm your #1 fan. Can I pass through the teleportation portal? Little Miss Muddle passed through yesterday. I heard that the mission you gave to Little Miss Muddle was to praise you and write articles. The summit. Chapter 4264. However, There were also some female players who were very dissatisfied and said some sour words. Schwellinger said, I didn't expect to meet such a pretentious bitch in the game. She made her face look like a little lowly and even imitated the voice of a little lowly. Can't she feel it? Miss Worryless said, don't you know that even if a guy knows that a pretentious bitch is cute and pretty, he'll still suck up to her? Schwellinger said, anyway, she's disgusting. Only otakus like this pretentious girl who makes her face look like a little lowly. Some female players agreed. This kind of girl who pretended to be a little lowly was disgusting. However, there were also some players who spoke up for them, saying that they were jealous. Candy Fruit heard these words and was displeased. She yelled, bodyguards, help me kill Schwellinger and Miss Worryless. Double the price we agreed on. Kill them every time they come online. You don't have to protect me anymore. Then, her expression changed. She leaned against Tangwa and said, Empressita, they bullied me. I'll stay here with you today. Tangwa patted her head. She did feel that Candy Fruit was a little like a little tea, but it was still a cute cup of tea. Little girl, do you want to use the teleportation array too? Candy Fruit said, of course, I do. Empressita, will you let me go? Then, she put on a pitiful face. She did not casually pinch the lowly's face. This lowly's appearance was quite similar to her own. As for the voice, it was also her own. She was originally a cute and lovable girl. Tangwa thought, I was waiting for you to say that. Little girl, it's not easy to use the teleportation array. You don't have the right to use it if you don't pass the test. Even if I let you go, you might die in the teleportation array. The players were dumbfounded. Did the game company secretly add a new setting? The game company, we won't take the blame. Candy Fruit said, no matter how difficult it is, I'll go. Tangwa touched her head and looked at her with tender eyes. Since you are so determined, I will give you a chance. Okay. What do I need to do? Tangwa's face was full of smiles. For some reason, Empressita looked especially beautiful when she smiled, but all the players felt a chill down their spines, as if something bad was about to happen. Tangwa began to talk about the mission. A long time ago, a mysterious person came to Purple Pagoda City. It was said that he came from a very magical world. In that world, he was called a mathematician. System. Dear host, you must be a devil to make up stories. The other players were also captivated by Tangwa's story as they listened to the narration. This was the first time they had seen Empressita assign a quest. It seemed like this quest was not going to be easy. When the mysterious mathematician left, he said that he was very grateful for my hospitality and left behind some secret scrolls. I have gathered all the mathematicians in Purple Pagoda City, but they were unable to solve these secret scrolls. All the players, so? They vaguely guessed that the mysterious mathematician didn't leave behind a set of mathematical problems for Empressita, right? If that was the case, ha ha ha. They didn't know why they wanted to laugh. The summit. You said that those who are not high school students don't know how to do it, and those who have graduated have already forgotten it. Isn't it very painful to do the questions? Since I'm a high school student, it's easy for me to complete this mission. I don't know how old Candy Fruit is. Oh yeah, didn't she say that she got 9 marks in her math exam last semester? She even knows about the 3 years of college entrance exams and 5 years of mock exams. Most likely, she's a high school student. Ha ha ha. As expected, she's not very friendly to high school students. I even suspect that she's being targeted by Empressita. Maybe it's because of the big data collection that Candy's math scores are poor. The gaming company is too evil. They must have created this to play with us. Luckily, I didn't get this mission. This mission is too difficult. Game company, yes. It's all my fault. Candy Fruit, it's too difficult. Why is it a math question? Seeing the reactions of the players, Tangwa decided that she would choose these very special players to give out missions in the future. As for the ordinary ones, they were not fun at all. She would kill them and send them back to the beginner's village. As for the ones that made her uncomfortable, she would hang them outside the Purple Tower. The following players were either killed and sent back to the beginner's village or hung outside the Purple Tower. In the afternoon, the players who went to work during the day came back from work. After eating, they couldn't wait to lay down in the gaming cabin and enter the game. Unexpectedly, when they opened their eyes, they found themselves still hanging outside the Purple Tower. Their eyes were wide open. The gaming company must have secretly changed the settings. Didn't they say that no matter how dangerous the place is, as long as you go offline, you will be considered dead and sent back to the beginner's village? Did you guys know? This morning, another person received Immerse's mission. Peek. Chapter 4266. Who is it? Why is she so lucky? Many players who did not come online during the day asked. They felt that the game company was lying. They must have secretly changed Immerse's settings. They still refused to admit it. Trashy game company. Game company. Yes, yes, yes. It's a long name. It's a little lowly. Everyone calls her Candy Candy. She's a flunky who only scored 9 points in mathematics. She's lucky to be able to receive a mission from Immerse. Unlike us, not only do we not have a mission, but we also have to be hung up here to be dried meat. What's so lucky about that? She might not be able to complete the mission that Immerse gave her in her lifetime. What mission? Is it difficult? I remember that the first 2 players who triggered the mission had simple missions. Actually, I suspect that the reason why the first 2 players' missions were so simple was because the game company was adjusting the details and there was a bug. However, they did not want to admit it. Now that they have adjusted the bug, naturally, the mission that Immerse gave would be more difficult. Tell me, what mission did Immerse give to the little lowly who scored 9 points in mathematics? It's not a strange mission. It's just a 3-year college entrance exam and a 5-year simulation. Fuck. Piffed. Giving this mission to a flunky who scored 9 points in mathematics? Is Immerse crazy? Who knows? I heard from some people that the little lowly who scored 9 points said that she went to the mission room to do questions as soon as she came online. I don't know when she will finish them. I really think that she will never be able to pass this mission in her lifetime. We should think about how to leave this place. What's the difference between us and salted fish now? There were many players hanging outside the Purple Tower. Many of them were hung there last night. They thought that after going offline, they would automatically return to the beginner's village when they came online again. Who knew that they would still be in the same place? More and more players entered the Purple Tower. The number of players hanging in the Purple Tower was still increasing. The players who were killed and sent back to the beginner's village happily ran to the Purple Tower to be tortured. Finally, around 10 p.m., a player found a way to get rid of being hung there. That was to commit suicide and return to the novice village. Actually, this was an escape route that Tangwa had left for them. She couldn't just leave them hanging outside, could she? She suspected that if this continued, the Purple Pagoda wouldn't even be able to hang up. After the strategy was released, the players who were hanging on the Purple Tower committed suicide one after another and returned to the novice village. What made them cry was that after committing suicide, they would lose 5 levels. Speaking of which, although this system of mine is a wild one and doesn't have a serial number, its intelligence is something that these numbered systems can't compare to. The system snorted and was especially proud. All the systems with serial numbers had to call him boss. Who else could it be? Tangwa did not expect that Tongzi would be recognized by all the systems so quickly and even become their boss. By the way, Madam Host, there are so many people disturbing you every day. We have to think of a way to deal with them. Although you are invincible, these players seem to have an endless amount of energy. Even if they lose levels, they still want to attack you. I've already figured out what to do. Vertex. Chapter 4268. Purple Tower Tournament? When the players wanted to enter the Purple Tower, they suddenly saw a huge signboard at the entrance of the Purple Tower. The biggest words on the signboard were reflected in their minds. What is Empress Zeta up to again? What is the Purple Tower tournament? Is there a need to say more? It must be something created by a trashy game company to torture players like us. But then again, the trashy game company didn't release any new products in the market this time. They are quite conscientious. It should be said that they have secretly made changes recently. They didn't release any new products to make money. I guess they know that they are in the wrong and have a conscience. Do you think that capitalists have a conscience? Most likely, there are various bugs. Just look at the recent situation. As long as Empress Zeta is around, I will play this game for a day. These bugs are quite fun. Tangwa silently listened to the discussion of the group of fighters. She wanted to remind them to take a look at her new announcement. The players' attention quickly fell on the announcement on the signboard. Purple Tower Tournament Season Onis. There were more guests in the Purple Tower City recently. Empress Zeta decided to hold a Purple Tower Tournament. She would like to invite all guests to display their strengths and win the competition. Start time. From the moment the announcement is made, end time. Until the champion of the first season of the tournament is selected, the specific rules were as follows. Outside the Purple Tower, there were 10 arenas. There was a guard on each arena, and there was no limit to the number of times they could go up and down. In other words, even if they were knocked out of the arena, they could continue to challenge because it was not an elimination round. Whoever could defeat 200 people first would be the champion of the first season of the Purple Tower tournament. They would also receive a mission from Empress Zeta and a small reward. So, all guests, please get ready. The Purple Tower tournament will begin. While the players were still in a daze, the guards outside the Purple Tower divided the locations of the 10 arenas. They also marked arenas from number 1 to number 10. Then, they realized that the guards carried an especially luxurious chair out of the Purple Tower and placed it at the highest position. Then, Empress Zeta floated out and landed on the throne. She glanced at the crowd indifferently as if she was looking down on all living beings. Tangwa looked at these people faintly. Isn't this better? She could see players killing each other every day, but she could still watch the show without getting tired. It was estimated that it would take a while for a player to emerge victorious. As for the difficulty of the competition, it would be decided after a season. If killing 200 people was too easy, she could always level up later. We've spent several years just to design her, and we've even connected her to all the big data on the internet. She'll have access to any updated data from the outside world. Therefore, even if the other game companies want to take advantage of this bonus, as long as Empress Zeta is around, they won't be able to win. The amount of money that the players spent on their accounts is still rising. Now, I hope that Empress Zeta's tournament can continue. Let's go and take a look in the game. Leave 2 people to watch the data, especially Empress Zeta's. Don't mess up. She's our baby now. The summit. Chapter 4270. Tangwa leaned against the throne and looked at the players fighting below. She was in a good mood. She should have been like this a long time ago. The players seemed to be very happy, and she was very happy too. Wasn't this a win-win situation? The game company had made a lot of money tonight, right? If they had a conscience, they should give her more clothes and items. It would be best to prepare more rewards for the players. It was quite fun being an NPC. She didn't know when Song Lin would come. Would he participate in the Purple Tower competition? How was she going to deal with Song Lin then? The players who didn't go up to the arena were observing Empress Zeta, who was sitting on the throne and looking down on the world. A few internal staff members of the game company were also observing her. Tangwa noticed them and glanced at them indifferently. She waved her hand and ordered the guards. I think that these people look very suspicious. They keep looking around. I suspect that they are spies who sneaked in and want to harm my Purple Tower city. Go and catch them quickly. The internal staff of the game company. What? Are you kidding me? They are the designer's father and Empress Zeta's daughter. You can't treat your father like this. However, they were also very curious about what Empress Zeta would do to them, so they didn't resist. They were tied up and brought to Tangwa. Tangwa glanced at them coldly. Which country sent you spies from? We are not spies. Then why were you looking around just now? Were you looking at the topographic map of Purple Tower City to prepare for the attack in the future? Tangwa still didn't believe them. These people were internal staff of the game company. Of course, she knew. She was just scaring them. The boss of the game company, Yuxing, quickly said, "We are all country bumpkins from the countryside. We have never seen such a prosperous city. When we came in, everything was shining. It was so bright that it almost blinded my eyes. I couldn't help but look." The others, "Boss, where's your integrity? You are quite good at lying." Tangwa glanced at the woman in front of her who was lying through her teeth. The woman was wearing a blue dress with starlight on it. She had long silver curly hair and wore an exquisite crown on her head. The various accessories on her were enough to blind the eyes of ordinary players. "Who are you trying to lie to? I'll accompany you for the rest of my life." Feeling Tangwa's gaze on her, she lowered her head and saw the princess dress that she had designed for herself, as well as the various accessories on her wrist. Her face stiffened. If she knew that this would happen, she wouldn't have dressed so grandly. She would have just wrapped herself in a rag. "Where did you get those things on you? They're obviously expensive." "You're lying. Yuxing, why are you so smart? What should she do?" How could she have known that the Purple Tower Empress would be so smart? Now, she had trapped herself with a lie. Seeing that Tangwa's gaze was getting more and more unfriendly, Yuxing continued, "When I first came to the big city, I met a beautiful and kind princess. But she wasn't as beautiful as Empress Sita. She pitted my tattered clothes and gave me a set of clothes." The staff of the game company, "Boss, you really know how to make up stories. Keep making up stories." Tangwa's gaze fell on the others. "What about them? The items on them are also extraordinary." The staff of the game company, "Oh, boss, let's see how you can make up stories now. Empress Sita is really smart. Do you think you can fool an NPC?" The top. Chapter 4271. I'll accompany you for the rest of my life, but I didn't expect that the Purple Tower Empress would be so observant. Seeing that the other party was still suspicious, if she didn't explain herself, this matter wouldn't be over. Her mind quickly turned. Tangwa found it funny when she saw the other party's reaction. If they couldn't answer her question, she would lock them all up in the dungeon. She felt that it was dangerous to play with Empress Sita. At this moment, she thought of an excuse. "Actually, they are all my admirers. I have always wanted to come to Purple Tower City to meet Empress Sita. They are all princes of different countries, so they are dressed differently. When they heard that I was coming here, they thought that it would be dangerous to come alone. They were worried about me, so they came together." The staff of the game company, "Boss, is this how you play? What admirers? Isn't it the meaning of a bootlicker?" Tangwa didn't expect that the other party could come up with such an excuse. She glanced at the others and saw that they were nodding. Obviously, they agreed with Empress Sita's statement. Since that was the case, she didn't continue to pester them. She smiled and asked the guards to let them go. Then, she arranged for someone to entertain them. The staff of the game company were now arranged to the left of Tangwa. Their clothes were indeed eye-catching. Many players were curious. Who were these people? Empress Sita's attitude towards them seemed to be good. Tangwa didn't pay attention to them. She had been paying attention to some of the players who had just entered the city. She didn't see Song Lin. The Purple Tower tournament was very popular. On the 10 arenas, countless players jumped up to challenge. There were also players who were constantly defeated. There were even players who were directly killed and sent back to the beginner's village. However, under normal circumstances, if there wasn't a deep hatred, they would stop. They wouldn't make life and death enemies. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. The number of players who came to Purple Tower City only increased. The players all noticed a problem. After a certain time, Empress Sita would return to the Purple Tower. She would say that she was going to rest. The next day, she would appear here again to observe all the players fighting. This gave them a very strange feeling. Were they here to play the game, or was the game playing them? The fucking game company must have thought that they were the bosses. They had never seen a game where they couldn't be the bosses even if they spent money. They even had to call the game company daddy. Tangwa didn't know what these players were thinking. She had seen players who had a grudge against each other fight to the death in the arena a few times, and she had enjoyed watching them. After meeting her, the staff of the game company didn't intend to interfere. For the past few days, because of the Purple Tower tournament, the players had spent a lot of money into the game. Therefore, the game company would not make any changes for the time being. As for Song Lin, it had been almost a week since the Purple Tower Arena tournament, and he still had no intention of coming. Could it be that he had to wait until the time in his memory? Calculating the time, it didn't seem like it would be long before they met. It was Empress Zheng mentioned Zizel's TZT, Misty Lady, and Rosa Rubra would occasionally come here to walk around and greet her. Most of the time, they would team up to kill monsters. The players who had always looked at her with uncomfortable eyes were now spilling blood in the arena. They were thinking about how to kill more players. They didn't have time to get close to her. Peek. Chapter 4272. After 10 days or so, a few outstanding players appeared in the arena. They left a deep impression on Tanghua. Blue Blade, level 188 swordsman class, level 1. Based on his appearance, he looked like a swordsman. He arrived at Arena 1 4 days ago. Tanghua checked the game's leaderboards. Blue Blade wasn't a player who spent a lot of money. He was just an unorthodox player who didn't spend a lot of money. Although his equipment was very good, it was all given to him by rich players when he brought people to level up. He probably hadn't spent a single cent on it. Arena 7's player was Old Apricot Rain. He was a level 165 assassin and had a feminine appearance. His weapon of choice was a folding fan. Other players' fans were either made of wood or paper. His fan was made of razor blades, and each of his attacks was deadly. He came to the 7th arena 3 days ago. Red Star Rain, level 175 Lyra, level 175 swordsman. She wore a light green dress and had a cold demeanor. She wasn't someone to be trifled with. Red Star Rain had entered the arena 2 days ago. To be able to stay in the arena for a day without being knocked off was already quite impressive. It wasn't that they didn't leave the arena all the time. The game company had set a cool-down time for players to play online. They had to consider the safety of the players. However, they weren't knocked off the arena by others. They logged off on their own accord. Every time they logged on, they would occupy the arena they were originally in. There was another player who attracted Tanghua's attention. Red Star Rain, Gongshi Smile. He hadn't logged on yet, so it would be a while before he did. Gongshi Smile's profession was unknown, and the equipment he was wearing looked very simple. However, Tanghua knew the equipment data in the game. His seemingly simple equipment wasn't something ordinary people could afford. Why was his class unknown? Because other players had fixed equipment. Many items that didn't belong to their class couldn't be used. They had to change classes or buy them with money. But this Gongshi Smile was different. He seemed to be able to use any kind of equipment. He had appeared in arena number 10 3 days ago. The time he spent in the ring was very long. Tanghua calculated that he was in the ring almost all the time except for eating and sleeping. Gongshi Smile was currently level 200 and ranked first in the game. At the same time, he was also ranked first on the Nouveau Riche list. He was a typical gamer who spent a lot of money. However, Tanghua felt that he really didn't have any skills when fighting. In other words, he was a noob. This level 200 account must have been leveled up by someone else. The reason why he could do whatever he wanted in the game was probably because his equipment was too dazzling. Tycoon Bro, Gongshi Hanshao is here. Big Brother number 1 is here again. Every time Gongshi appeared with a smile on his face, it would cause a huge commotion. Tanghua could not help but look in the direction of Ring 10. Sure enough, a man dressed in simple clothes appeared. He stood there, and many lackeys appeared around him. This was especially true for the players in ring number 10. They laughed happily when they saw Gongshi smile. Boss Gongshi, you're finally here. It's not easy for me to guard this ring. Finally, you're here. Gongshi Smile said, come down, add my account. I'll send you over right away. Okay. Boss Gongshi, please. The summit. Chapter 4273. The burly man jumped down from the ring and quickly added Gongshi Smile as a friend. After the two confirmed, the burly man received a top-tier item and happily ran off to the side. Gongshi Smile stood on the ring and looked down at the crowd below. Come on, who are you today? Do you have 50? Boss Gongshi, don't worry. I've got 50 for you. It'll be more than enough. The one who spoke was the same burly man from before. He waved his hand and shouted, Brothers, come and make some money. Boss Gongshi is here. Tangwa's lips twitched when she saw this. This Gongshi Han Xiao was really unscrupulous in order to win the first place. He even hired actors. The rules had been set long ago and were difficult to change. Gongshi Smile took advantage of this loophole. However, Gongshi Smiley was very serious when he fought. He would show off his equipment like a country bumpkin. When the first actor stepped forward, Gongshi smiled and took out a sword that glowed with a blue light, and began to fight with him with very clumsy moves. Gongshi Smile wasn't sure if it was because of his acting skills or the charm of money, but he was able to defeat the first player. Next came the second player. Gongshi Smile changed his equipment and continued with his previous moves. Tangwa looked at the statistics in her hand. If Gongshi Smile killed another 50 players today, he would have killed 200 players in total. He would be the champion of the Purple Tower tournament. She looked at the other 3 players. Blue Blade was still dealing with the challengers. He didn't seem to have any objections to Gongshi Smile's actions. That year Xing Huayu glanced at Gongshi Smile and frowned slightly. Obviously, she didn't quite agree with his approach. Why can't the game company protect the fairness of the game? Hiring players like this is like not giving ordinary players a chance to win. Xing Huayu couldn't help but complain. He had already killed over 100 players. He had a good chance of winning if he kept going. Blue Blade had only killed 100 players, so he wasn't far behind. The more he thought about it, the more he couldn't accept it. He immediately sent a private message to the game company. Hellflower didn't even notice Gongshi's smile. Every now and then, she'd steal a glance at Blue Blade. Tangwa looked at her meaningfully. Hellflower seemed to be interested in Blue Blade. Tongzi, do you know what's going on between Hellflower and Blue Blade? She was very interested in the players' stories. System. Dear host, as an NPC, you're a little gossipy. Tangwa said, as an NPC. Of course I have to find some fun to enrich my life. The system sighed. What other gossip could there be? Of course it's because the red spider lily is in love with Blue Blade. Blue Blade is a block of wood. All he does is kill monsters and do quests. Oh right, great host. Let me tell you a secret. If Blue Blade didn't help the boss level up his account, he would have long surpassed level 200. Tangwa thought of a possibility. Is Gongshi Smile the boss of Blue Blade? That's right. How did you guess it? You've said it yourself. The way Gongshi Smile used his equipment doesn't look like he trained himself. He must be a boss. Blue Blade must be the one training him when he's sleeping, right? Something like that, Madam Host. Among these outstanding people, is your cutie among them? It shouldn't be a problem for him to gossip a little. The peak. Chapter 4274. Do you think so? The system was speechless. Isn't this bullying me? My dear host seems to be very interested in these players. She's very happy to see them kill themselves. My energy keeps increasing, but I can't tell if it's because of that guy. System. That year Xing Huayu, it can't be, right? Big Cutie wouldn't look at others with hatred for the rich. She even secretly reported Gongshi Smile for hiring actors. I'm not sure if it's Blue Blade. He's a very good gamer. I've looked him up before. He plays many games at the same time. He knows many bosses in each game. Those bosses like to ask him to level up their accounts. His skills are so good. It's hard to rule him out. There's also Gongshi Smile. He looks like a tycoon. After all, he's been an idiot before. It's not impossible that he's a prodigal gamer. Blue Blade has a crush on him. It's Red Spider Lily. He doesn't reject her outright. He doesn't reject her either. The system analyzed silently. So, if we exclude Blue Blade, then among the people we've met recently, only Gongshi Smile could be your big cutie. Dear host, am I right? Tangwa. Well, I don't know if you're right or not. Don't forget that this is a virtual world. I can't sense it. The system was a little dumbfounded. It thought it had guessed correctly after analyzing so much. No, dear host. Even if this is a virtual world, you need to use human spiritual energy to enter, right? How can you not sense it? They're so far away. How can I sense it? The system was silent for a moment. It glanced at the 10th ring. Sure enough, the distance between the ring and Tangwa's position was quite far. Even Gongshi's figure was quite small. It would take a magnifying glass to see his appearance clearly. Well, it's not the host's fault. Gongshi Smile will get first place today. He'll be closer in a while. When the time comes, please take a closer look. If he is, then let's recruit him. Tangwa, the game company, had indeed received a report from Xinghua that year. When they heard that Gongshi Smile had hired an actor to participate in the Purple Tower tournament, they all rolled their eyes. This was Gongshi Hanxiao. So what if he hired a shill? It wouldn't affect him too much. Moreover, in this game, as long as he didn't cheat, wasn't it normal to hire a shill? After all, there were some checkpoints that couldn't be cleared on their own. They had to hire helpers. This was the difference between their games. It was somewhat similar to the real world. That year, Xinghuayu's response was that everything was within the rules of the game. The internal staff of the gaming company said in their hearts that the conference was organized by Impressita, not by them. Since there were no serious bugs, the company did not intend to interfere. They just wanted to see how far Impressita could go. That year, Xinghuayu realized that this game was different from other games when she received the response. This game was fair and unfair at the same time. It was like a mini real world. Giving up on reporting Gongshi didn't mean that he liked Gongshi Smile. After Gongshi's Smile killed 50 players and distributed the rewards to them, the first season of the Purple Tower tournament came to a successful end. None of the players left. They wanted to see what mission Empress Zeta would assign to Gongshi Smile. Gongshi Smile walked towards Tangwa. That year, Xinghuayu walked up to Tangwa first, which attracted the attention of all the players. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.